Right, welcome in, welcome in. So, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be doing this Totem of Rightful Rulership. Let's get this finished, knocked out. So this says it can be in the Emporium, which we know where that's at. So let's go get that. And I think the other piece, the Broken Jewel, I think is right over there. Which actually, let's go handle that first, because that's close. Alright, alright, alright. May have to jump up higher than I intended. I think we read this one. Yeah, we read that one already. Okay. There we go. And there it is. We got a treasure chest. Open sesame. There we go. Grab it all on up. There it is. Drop down. Okay, so... well, we got loot. So not a total waste.
Here it comes.
Burn it away, Kai. Let's go fight some spiders, shall we? Drop on down here, and then we'll light everything up. Oh, it's phantoms.
Let's go.
I was mistaken. It's not spiders.
Be your safe.
Oh, shit. Are we good? I think we're good,
That's
finally. Alright. Now that, I definitely did not anticipate.
That's another piece of that Woodaka totem.
Hey, it is. There we go. That's definitely not on a balcony. Most assuredly not on a balcony. Which is what the description says. I think they need to, like, reassess what the word balcony means. Because it said that it was on a balcony, and that's clearly on the floor in a locked, abandoned warehouse. Now, granted, you get through there, you get to the balcony to get inside that warehouse, but, like, that's not the fucking balcony that it said it was on. Now, there is, it says there's one here, and it is the Golden Crown Stolen Gem can be found in the Emporium. Do I think it's in the actual Emporium? I don't remember. Ah, you've got a doorway.
I understand the curious spirit, but I promise that region is well
Okay, that's not a door. Let's see. Oh, what's that? Artifact observations, and there it is.
Definitely don't feel like we should be in here.
Why not? Why not, Marius? You don't like
I
it?
don't think my assistants are hiding in there.
They might be. You never know with your track record, homie. Like, who sends an expedition out without funding for food? At the very basic, minimum level. Like, do better, big dog. Do better. Star Smithy. That's another area entirely. Alright. Let's give ourselves the advantage of squaring this totem away. Let's make it happen. Yes, indeed. Strain to hear what they're saying.
Are you certain?
I know what I sensed. I am beyond all doubt.
A source of essence? In the living lands? Impossible.
Keep listening in silence.
I felt the flutter of Audra. There was no mistaking it. I followed it, but a mist blinded me. I could not proceed.
A vein separate from ours?
I cannot explain it any other way.
An ill wind blows through Aora if any of what you say is true.
Let's see. Listen for for more of these implications. Audra. Last time we listened to more of the implications. This time, let's listen to the Audra, because before we did the implications, we found out Wodika is basically all having a pissy contest because she can't control everything. So we're gonna go with the Audra one and see how that
If
goes.
the Audra were severed,
We have no time for theories.
please. I've considered this with care. Think of the kith who live there. Always just beyond our reach.
I assure nothing. I will not rest until I learn the truth of this. If we cannot bring it to light, we all may be at stake.
There.
No, she's
Adds a little
fear-mongering.
culture to the camp, doesn't it?
She's fear-mongering for the sake of getting more control. That's it. That's all she wants. More control. She doesn't actually give a shit. Fear-mongerer! Look at you. I can upgrade you again. I really like guns in this game. Hey, Sarah Bear, welcome in. How you doing? How you doing, Sarah Bear? Anything new or exciting in your part of the world? Get this shout out going while we're upgrading some things. Ah, thank you, Lady Pixie. You were faster typing than I was. For those who haven't done so already, Sarah Bear is an amazing streamer who's part of the Legion broadcasting team. You want to make sure that you're showing that Legion support, that you're going over and checking out this awesome fellow streamer that we have in here with us. She does a variety of games. She was doing Genshin Impact last. She does ESO quite a bit. She does... what's that? The game with the creepy bus. Is that Once Human? Is that the name of that game that you were playing? I think that's Once Human. But yeah, all sorts of cool things. And huge Doctor Who fan. So you got to go over there, chat it up, hang out in the bear cave. Go do it. It's amazing. How you doing, sir? Doing all right. Making some breakfast burritos for dinner. Nice. Yes. Okay, so it was Once Human? Okay, cool. I am outstanding. I...
Look, Marius, if
Hold
you ever
on.
want to talk about anything, you know I'm here, right?
Right. Appreciate that, but I'm all right.
Let's exit here. Oh man, more talking.
Thoughts and whispers, we feel them rumble beneath the surface. We smell conflict. Kith turn on kith. We do not understand.
Anyways, I'm doing outstanding. I am going through and doing a independence run. That's what we're doing in this one. Did a diplomatic run last time. Now we're doing an independence run. Have you checked out this game yet? Have you went and played it at all, Sarah Bear? And if so, what weapons are you doing? Let's see here. People always fight over something. It's just a question of what? That is a fact. And you can look at history and see that's fact.
They come on foreign ships, exiles grafted from other trees. The salt clings to their hair, the scent of distant shores to their skin.
Most come here for a better life. Some are seeking freedom. They're attracted to unconquered soil. So we went with a better life last time. I think this time we're going to go with seeking freedom, because seeking freedom, in my mind, would line up more with the independence run that we're doing. Still trying to learn the combat system. Okay. Is anything I might be able to help with? Out of curiosity?
Branches unimpeded. Why?
We're going to have freedom to be
A
themselves.
foundling deer seeking the woods. The ground stirs. New roots seek to grow taller than the old. They bring banners, arrows, swords. What do they seek from us?
Let's go with this one. They want the same thing as others. Power.
Blood thickens the stream. Wolves fighting for territory. Is the instinct to conquer innate?
Yes. Oh, you weren't actually asking. You're asking the character, Raj. Let's see. Captions. Thank you. I definitely fixed those now. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. I'm using a grimoire and wand and a sword. Okay. So, let me get out of this, because last time I used guns. I would throw in some melee weapons every now and then. This one, I'm using the grimoire and wand currently. I am going to be switching as we progress to a grimoire and a melee weapon, because I'm going to do a Death Knight build. It's going to be pretty cool. But let me get out of this, and I'll show you what I've learned so far. I wish they could resolve things peacefully. There's enough space for everyone. It doesn't have to be that way. I'd like to think we're better than that, but life keeps proving me wrong. I was murdered as soon as I got here. Some order wouldn't kill it. Ha ha ha. Killing it joke when you got murdered. Let's see here. As much as we would like to think people are better than that, the reality is people aren't. At the core, people aren't.
Ivy spreads on the stone, a nature that cannot be tamed. We learn much. Sleep now. Dream of warm tides and purple leaves.
You mean not green leaves? Oh. Zard, it's the timing, blocking and dodging that I'm having trouble with. Okay. The blocking's pretty rough. The dodging can be pretty rough because it's you very much have to choose between, are you going to fight with your weapon or are you going to dodge? Because it's using the same exact resource, and that is super unfortunate. However, where is it at? Right here. So if you're gonna block, once you hit level 10, you get to get this one here, and this will decrease the stamina cost of blocking up to 60%, which is great, but you gotta wait till level 10 to get it. And then Ranger has the dodge one right over here, which is decreasing the stamina for dodge. So max level is 30. Max level is 30. So those two passives right there will help with that. The other thing is because it's using stamina to block and to dodge. If what armor are you wearing? Are you wearing heavy, light, or medium? Maybe 5 or 6. Yeah, you're still in the area that I'm currently in with my second playthrough. Yeah. But are you using heavy, light, or medium armor? And did you do the pre-order version where you get the special armors in your party camp, out of curiosity? So max is 30. We only have 30 points in 2 abilities. Yep. 30 is the max. That sucks. It does, except for when you zoom out and stop looking at it like a traditional game. When you look at traditional, like, RPG games, character building, you actually have to have builds. You actually have to process that prior to going in and doing things. And there's very clearly defined things. This gives us the illusion that there's classes. There's not. There's 2 categories. It's, are you ranged or are you melee? That's it. And the reason why I say that, it says fighter, ranger, wizard, but that's not the case. Because you can mix and match these, which I do, and I recommend everyone else does too. But it's, are you a melee character or are you a ranged character? And that has to do with attributes. So if you're a melee character, you absolutely 100% do not need perception. You can ignore perception entirely. If you're a ranged character, you need some perception, because it affects how far out you can reach out and touch someone. Dexterity, not really all that important. By the way, your attributes, max at 15. That's the max for attributes. So, and like, if you're a melee fighter and you're focused on your melee weapons, you know, also, you don't need essence. You need stamina, but you don't need essence. But if you're a magic user and you're just popping spells off from your grimoire, and you've got the wizard abilities, because you can unlock the individual spells from the wizard abilities over here on this side, so that way you can use them irregardless of what grimoire you have equipped, right? If you're doing that type of stuff, essence is super important. If you're using weapons, stamina is important. So it comes down to, like, how ranged are you? How melee are you? And then be realistic with what you're doing. Like, might, everything needs might, period. Constitution, well, if you're not getting hit because you're a ranged character, you don't need it. You can kind of stay in the back somewhere and just like rain hell down on everybody. So instead of I wish they explained that better when they presented all of this in the beginning tutorial pop-ups. I wish they had broken it down instead of the traditional fighter, ranger, wizard. It's are you ranged or melee, and that's it. And then build according to ranged or melee, and then you can change the weapons out as you want and as you need. It's pretty clean that way when you look at it that way. But it's preconception. Like, we have our preconceived notions as gamers what fantasy character building looks like. And it doesn't match here. It's close. But they're more parallel than anything, but they're not the same. They simplified it and then gave you the guise that it's complex, or that it's traditional, at least, right? But they simplified it. It's just 2, melee or ranged, and then build just according to that. Change weapons out. Change spells out. Because you can run, in theory, if you were to remove your quick healing potions, you could run a total of what? Let's see here. Can we dual wield? No, you can't. So you can run 4 spells in your grimoire, 4 spells on your quick bar. So you can run 8 spells by unlocking here. And that would keep you from having to really worry about stamina outside of dodging costs. If you're using specific armors... hold on, let me get caught up there. And I think I'm wearing medium armor at the moment. Okay, so there's a limited number of unique armors in the game. I would recommend looking at what the unique armors are and seeing which one you actually want to run. Now, if you're going to run medium, you actually are in a sweet spot, but it's a weird sweet spot. So if we look here in Wizard, we got the decreases essence penalty for light and medium armor, and that can go up to 30, which is fantastic. And if we go to Fighter, we see Armored Grace, which decreases stamina penalty for medium and heavy armor. So medium can get decreased, its penalties decreased on stamina and essence both by up to 30, which is fantastic. Except for the fact that there's not all that many unique medium armor pieces. Or all that useful medium armor pieces. So that's one of those, like, it's a sweet spot if you're just going to rely on your spells and your weapons and that's it, and you don't care about all the other passives that you can work into your build, then absolutely medium is on point if you're just going to stick to those 2 things. But I would say definitely look into the unique items here. As a matter of fact, let me save this. I'll show you some. I don't have all of them on my first playthrough because there were some that just had no idea where they were to begin with. Here we go. It's loaded. Let me load this one real quick. Yeah, so on the range, sword on my back for up close combat. Found a unique grimoire. Really skills, though I'm using it at the moment. To just the one. I found a unique grimoire, and I really like the skills that are on it. So I'm using that at the moment, but I like to use the one to just, you know, hit them with it not ranged. I think it's Pierce. You have a unique medium armor. Okay. let's go over here. Let me open this up here. So a couple things also that I figured out. You can stash to your party chest, your party storage, from your inventory directly. And you can sell to merchants from your party stash as well. So you don't always have to have... There's not a reason to carry all the items on your person, which is really cool, really weird. Alright, so here we are. Let's go down. Do I only have the 2 grimoires? Did I get rid of the rest? I think I might have gotten rid of the rest. Alright. Medium armors. Here we go. Or, sorry, unique armors. Common robe. Superb plate. Okay. So yeah, we got the heavy armor, heavy armor, heavy armor, heavy armor. Heavy armor. Light armor. Which, actually, this isn't unique. That's your starting gear. Light armor, light armor. Light armor, light armor. There's the medium. This one does barbaric shout when taking damage greater than 30% of your max health, which is a fighter ability. And 5% stamina regeneration. Pretty good if you're going to be a melee fighter. Medium, we got 2% damage reduction, 1 additional damage reduction, 20% move speed. We've got medium armor. Now, where did I find this one? Oh, this one is in Shatterscarp. 5% chance to avoid ranged damage and 30% resistance to shock accumulation. So that's another good one. And then we got the Berserker one, which is another one. 25% damage and 50% critical damage while below 30% maximum health. So you got to stay in low health in order to make this effect even work. And then 5% critical hit chance. But there is so many other ways that are way more efficient to upgrade the critical hit chance in this. And like the one I'm using right now, heavy on this character, slowly regenerates essence and you and your companions receive a 4% damage reduction. And then I've also got this one for when I was using guns. 3% damage reduction, just a flat 3%, which is fantastic. And then a 15% reload speed. So what I would do is I would definitely look at all of them that are in the game and then determine which one you're going to chase for what you're doing to find the most beneficial thing. So that way then you know what ability points to sink into as far as passives go. Because if you're going to, say, run... Let's see here. Like, this is a light one right here. 10% incoming frost fire, shock damage, plus 40 maximum health. That's a pretty cool one. 3% damage reduction, 2% additional damage 2 additional damage reduction, and then a 15% ability cast speed. So, like, as a caster, that's really good. But it's a light armor, so you're going to take a beating. So then you may want to focus heavier on dodging rather than blocking, right? Whereas if you're going to be in the melee situation and you're going to be focusing on, and you're going to be incorporating blocking, you may want to think about something like the Steel Garrote, right? When taking greater damage than 25% of your maximum health, your attacker receives 50% of the damage. And then it's 1 constitution as well. Maybe in light piece, I'll have to look when I get back in the game. But yeah, so that's what I would say is, like, if you're gonna be the ranged, focus more on the dodge. If you're gonna be the melee, focus more on being able to punish the enemy for hurting you. Or be able to, like, just take the hit and be fine. That's how I would set it up, is I would pick one or the other. and run that. Medium armor is cool if you're gonna go thick of the fight, stay there, and go melee, because a lot of the medium armor feeds into that type, especially when you start pulling off the passives to reduce the costs on medium armor. The heavy armor only reduces stamina, and the light armor only reduces essence. But if you do the heavy armor and you reduce the stamina, you can stand there and take the beating, and then do things like...
Hey.
I'll pull it up on this character here, because this character is using a grimoire. Because like this grimoire that I have, let's go out and find some enemies to pick a fight with, shall we? Let me find an enemy and I'll show you. Like, you can do the magic stuff and play the melee character and still just use magic stuff. It's kind of cool.
I bet the soldiers died first, and then the bear died of food poisoning.
Probably. Probably, Marius. I don't know what enemies are going to be spawned in, because I kind of like cleared all this out before saving yesterday. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to find any enemies. Ah! Here we are. So.
Crow 10!
I have this thing, this spear. So I can use magic
That
grimoire
was fun.
and summon a weapon and stand there and go toe-to-toe with everybody and still be a magic build. Because that requires essence to run that, and then stamina to use it.
See that blood?
And what this one does
Guessing there was a third body here.
is my Spirit Lance. Summons a magical spear for 30 seconds that releases explosive damage around each successive hit, damaging nearby enemies. So, like, this is the Grimoire of the Spellblade, which you can also pick up this same exact ability under the Wizard section. Right down here at level 10. You'll be able to pick it up. But yeah, I would decide if you're going to focus on your wand and be at a distance, if you're going to be up and close in the fight. If you're going to be up close in the fight, you can still do magic and you still run the grimoire, absolutely. But that way you can focus more on your rotation, what spells you want to be using, or what weaponry rotation you want to be using as far as abilities, things like that go. And then crafting resources are limited. Yes, you can keep resting until the screen refreshes enough times where you can farm people, but I haven't been able to find a exact measurement of how long it takes for enemies to refresh or how long it takes for store merchants to refresh. And there isn't anywhere where you can do like unlimited questing to build up resources. So it's one of those, realistically, for the average person, the resources are going to be limited in the game. And the game's primary focus for getting you through the combat itself is what tier is your item. And that dictates like everything by a lot. Because there's passives that we're not seeing, there's percentages in the background that we're not seeing, penalties and buffs, both, that are calculated based on the tier difference and the level difference, because each tier has 3 levels. So the tier difference and the level difference between the items you're using and the opponents you're fighting. So like if you're using, like I'm using a fine quality tier 2 which is blue, heavy armor here, right? But if I were to go over and say use a green item, right? Even if their numbers are really close or off by like 1 or 2 digits, the reality is there's a massive difference if I'm running and fighting that young bear that was a green with a green item versus a blue item. The blue item, they're going to take way more damage than what my stats tell me they should be taking. If I were to fight a blue enemy with a green item, they're taking far less damage than what my stats tell me they should be taking. Because the differences. And if you're fighting a blue enemy that's a tier 2, so they're tier 2, level 2, right? So they got the 2 little filled in marks underneath. And I'm fighting them with blue, so I'm the same tier, but it's a level it's a level 0 out of 3 because it just became a tier item, a tier 2 item. I'm still doing less to them, and they're still doing more to me because there's still a 2 level difference within the tier. So there are percentages in the background that are buffs and debuffs that we as the players still don't see. So that's the other thing to always keep in mind too with your attacking, you're being able to take the hits and do the damage. Make sure your gear's up to snuff. And there is a limited crafting resource. So you kind of want to make sure that what resources you do spend, you spend on the things that you actually want to use and that you're actually going to keep using. So that's why I say, like, take the time, look into the unique items, decide what you're doing exactly if you're ranged or you're melee. Pick one or the other, right? And then, like, build it and upgrade everything according to that. And it's because of the limitations and because of the background numbers that we as the players aren't seeing. It's a light piece. I have huge doublet of the mini arcanist's gloves as well. Okay. And I'm guessing this is your grimoire that you found, right? Beothal's grimoire with the corrosive siphon, arcane veil, which by the way got debuffed today. There was a patch that came out. This used to be a 50% damage reduction on the arcane veil with a 10-second cooldown. It is now a 25% damage reduction with a 15-second cooldown. So they increased the cooldown and cut its efficiency in half. But that was a debuff that came out with today's patch. So, but yeah, sincerely, I would, like, if you're going to stick with light armor, look at all of the unique light armors in the game and decide which one you're going to run. And then decide, are you going to do melee or are you going to do ranged? Because that determines whether or not you should stick with light armor versus heavy armor versus medium armor. Medium armor is going to be, a lot of those passives are going to be melee focused, being in the thick of the fight. The light armor is going to be a lot of, like, you probably don't want to be touched by anybody or looked too strongly at by anybody. But it's going to help with your resource management. The heavy armor is like, okay, I'm going to stand in your face and I am going to make you pay while taking your hits and laughing at you. But that's probably because I can't move very far because I'm wearing heavy armor and I have the highest penalties. So it's one of those, like, you really want to build around your gear and decide if you're melee or ranged, and then do a pure build of melee or a pure build of ranged. Decide what unique items you're going to be running ahead of time and only focus on upgrading those. Honestly, this one's a pretty cool one because that corrosive siphon and blizzard are dope as hell. Arcane veil, amazing as well. I didn't like the parasitic staff though. I was not a fan of that. So, but this one here, the Fine Grimoire, the Spellblade, this has got the lance on it, the Grimoire Snap, which is an explosive area that knocks enemies down nearby, and then I've got the bow when I hit Mastery level 3. the magical bow with high poison accumulation. So like, there's even magic range stuff if you wanted to do other magic ranged stuff. But yeah, it's very much go pure melee or pure ranged, and then build unique items around it, and then go forward. It makes everything so much easier. Or you'll end up like what we had on our first playthrough, where it was like I had weapons that I was using, but because I had burned through resources upgrading other shit that I wasn't going to use anymore, I lost those resources and I didn't have enough to max out my equipment before going into the final fight in the last playthrough. So that's why it's one of those like plan ahead of time. Plan ahead of time.
Once. It's probably there now.
Matter of fact, the resource thing is such a problem that day one release for Game Pass, they did a patch the same exact day to remove the ability for players to sell crafting resources because people were running into that problem for the 5 days early access for the pre-orders for the premium edition, where people would sell crafting resources because what they were currently using they didn't need, or what they were currently using was maxed out. So then when they got higher level items and higher or different unique items they wanted to switch over to, they were running out of resources to craft and upgrade. So the developers day one fixed that immediately because, again, limited resources. So that's one of those, like, you genuinely want to plan accordingly. If you do it by the seat of your pants, you'll definitely end up not having the gear at the level you want it to be at the end, by the end of the game. I believe the one you have is right here. Many-hued doublet. 15% incoming frost and shock damage. Increased health restoration from all sources by 15%. See, that's pretty good. But that damage reduction, that additional damage reduction, are pretty low. And that's where that concern comes in. Of that, even when you upgrade it, right? Look at where this is sitting, right? 30 and 16. I'm getting that minus 50, but stamina I can reduce with heavy armor. But I also plan on like standing into the face of everybody, so I'm doing a heavy armor build. Light armor, and this is gonna be fantastic because like that gives 30 on the maximum stamina. So, like, that's pretty dope for sitting in the back and being able to dodge out of the way. Not necessarily wanting to absorb that hit because, like, if you miss or you get the timing wrong or anything, you're eating a lot more than what you would be if you're doing it on, like, a medium or a heavy armor. So, if you're going to run light armor, I would recommend sticking with focusing on dodge, which is, you know, the jump and the side dash. My problem with the dodge thing is I always screw it up when I'm jumping. I go to do a jump forward and my guy goes sideways. It's like, god damn it. I have died a few times on my first playthrough doing that. Doing a side dash when I meant to go forward. And you said you had the Arcanist gloves. So 10 parkour speed, 20 maximum essence. It's not bad. What else did you say? Oh, didn't say your boots. The boots, just so you're aware, the Arcanist boots, if you're looking for those, this is what they do. Increase your health restoration from all sources by 5%. with a 10% move speed. So 5% plus this, that's another. So that's a total of 20% health restoration increase by doing the multi-hued doublet with the Arcanist boots, if you can get those. So that's pretty good for survival purposes. Still not great that you would have to heal that frequently, but you're getting more for your healing. Let's see, carry capacity, constitution, stamina. What's this one? Hands of the Cold, 1% crit damage, or crit hit chance, and then 10% shock damage. Rarinash. I am playing this. I'm at the point in the game where I have to decide to choose between fate in the game that will have major consequences. I hate now. I don't want to play anymore. Choose between fate in the game that will have. What fate are you deciding right now? Out of curiosity, and why don't you want to play anymore? Is it because the decision's a tough decision? I totally forgot to check and see if they had what I was looking for, and they do not. Let's see if the other vendor does. Regardless if they do or not, we need to sell those things. Alright. Nope, they don't have it. No, they don't. But let's tell them about the star medal.
Good. You made it back.
I did. Tell me about the star medal.
Wait, is that star metal?
It is.
Abaddon's arse, this stuff is rare. I'd love to make something with it, but I'd be afraid of ruining it. I can't think of anybody else in Paradise who could either. Who knows? Maybe there's a blacksmith in another city who can help.
Where would I start looking?
Well, if I were a betting girl, I'd wager one of the smiths in Solace Keep could work with it. Good luck getting inside, though. Or surviving the journey there.
Right. Gallowayne's Tusks is one of the deadliest places in the world. Probably not worth the trip.
No thank you. I'll take my chances with the smugglers here any day.
Alright. There we go. So, now we can just do the quest. Because to go with the Archmage or the Inquisitor after escaping. Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's a fun one. I sided with the Archmage on my first playthrough. And I don't know who I'm siding with in this playthrough. I haven't decided yet because, like, I know what ending I'm going for. I'm not sure how that's gonna land for that one. I don't know which one's the better choice for the type of ending I'm trying to get. Wait a second. Am I hearing stuff? I am hearing stuff. Look at that.
That's the apothecary.
Huh. Aren't you the outlander who died in the streets? How are you? Gah, it doesn't matter.
You've got to help. He's gonna hurt me again.
Everyone take a deep breath. No one is hurting anyone else today. Right?
You seem to like beating up on little guys. Want to take a run at me?
Listen to me, dead woman. What happens here does not concern you. Walk away.
Okay, so last time we tried negotiating with them and the result was the same. So we're just gonna deal with it. Flat out. Hold on one second, folks. I have to go deal with something real quick. I'll be right back. My apologies, folks. All right, so yeah, we talked to this person last time. They're dead set on it. They think they're entitled to extort people. So we're just gonna handle it.
Stand still, Outlander. This is gonna hurt.
You're mine now. Next one's mine. On your right.
There you are, swine. This time, you're gonna stay dead.
Am I? Ooh, you hit hard.
That's Thala. You really stepped in this.
All right, homie. You want to play? Cool. Let's play. Shoot, shoot, shoot. He's thorned, so we can sit back and... Nope. That would be another thing, Server. I don't know if you're still here or not, but thorns. Whether it's your thorns or Maurice's thorns, that's actually a super useful mechanic there.
I can't believe they're dead.
Because it'll lock even bosses
over.
in place.
We make a good squad.
Before we go talk to Homeboy, let's go finish clearing out all of the...
Coming from the rear.
Take out our leader!
Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, hold on a second here.
Seems like you want to keep stuff like that in the warehouse. Nice job, everyone.
What is the... There's the shimmering. Anyway, after everything is set in stone. Well, that's... I find that one hard to believe, because I know the choice that I made had a very, very distinct consequence
If you don't take it, the adherence...
that
the
I could
adherence
absolutely
and-
tell. So, I'm curious as to how it wouldn't affect it, because like there was a significant change that did take place that was very, very noticeable. Not to mention it had implied, which is why we're doing multiple playthroughs. It had implied consequences in the ending. as far as potential of my desired outcomes. Which is why we're, again, doing another playthrough, see if choices actually matter, or if it's illusion of choice. Okay, those ones are all down. Let's make sure that there was one more person over here. See if they're still a problem. Nope, they left. They left their post. That's that person that confronts you and goes, "Hey, you don't want to go in there." Alright. So it does appear that all the Sparrowhawks are dead. In the city, anyways. Good. Couldn't have happened to a more deserving crew.
Envoy, thank you for dealing with those miscreants. There's a plague on these streets, and they are a symptom.
A gang of bullies shaking down honest folk? Seems more like the cause to me.
It's no more dangerous here than anywhere else. It's just that monsters here have knives instead of fangs.
You even killed Thala, the biggest, baddest of them all. The Sparrowhawks are gonna come after you.
Let's go with this one. At least I have friends watching my back.
I thought the perk of killing the biggest guy in the gang was scaring the rest of them off.
Don't I know?
Depends on if they were beloved.
Good help
or
is hard
feared.
to come by. You don't have to come to my defense. No one sticks their neck out for anyone in these parts.
Because, like, if the leader is beloved, yeah, they're gonna absolutely come after you for retaliation. 100%. If the leader was kind of feared and not really all that well liked, like, people stayed in line because they feared the consequence, they're probably not gonna go after retaliation. They're probably gonna be like, hey, we gotta do a show of force that we're not weak, but we really don't want this problem, so we're gonna do some saber rattling and then we're gonna move on. Right? Because you did them a favor at that point. So it comes down to how the people, how the group perceived their leader on whether or not they would come after you or run away. Let's go with this one. Show him the poison flask. What do you know about this?
Poison? Let me take a look. Wait, I recognize that from my wares. It's oil distilled from Santa Torre, a berry native to the Living Lands.
Let's see here. The test Mycin. The poison's irrelevant. Give the list of the customers.
I can't give you that.
What makes you think they won't come back for you? Help us, and we can help you.
If word got around that I was ratting my clients out to the Adherents, it'd be the end of me.
We're gonna go the top one here. I risk my life for you. Tell me, and we'll call it even.
I hate carrying a debt. Just don't tell anyone you learned it from me. The truth is, I never saw the customer's face. They wore a hood. A monk's cowl, I believe. But I can tell you that Saint Ettore is used in religious rituals. Prophets and seers will do anything to leave their bodies.
I find it funny streamers are calling this Skyrim. It's kind of like Skyrim in some aspects. To be fair, Obsidian is the ones who started that. Obsidian is the ones that said this is our direct challenge to Skyrim. This is, if we were making Skyrim as our own company, this is what our Skyrim would look like. That's what Obsidian did. So Obsidian is the one who initially made that comparison when they were marketing this game. So the streamers are just continuing with what the developers have put out there. Because again, that wasn't a streamer. Streamers didn't immediately make that connection on their own. That wasn't something that they came to the conclusion of. This is most definitely one of those. The developer stated what this was going to be a comparison to. So everyone's just acknowledging the fact that, yeah, we actually heard the developer. Yeah, we paid attention to what they were saying while they were marketing this, and we remembered. So let's see if their comparison's on point. Sounds like we're looking for a mystic. I certainly left my body for a while. Poison effects, anything else? Let's go with this one. You wouldn't like it if I discover you're holding out on me.
I have nothing to hide. Not anymore. Just talking to you has put me at odds with Paradis. I have no wish to be at odds with Adir as well.
If you want mystic types, you want to go visit the Temple of Andra. Probably the only reason you'd want to go there.
On the other hand, Claviger Amond was cozy with plenty of mystics and oddballs. We could check out his estate for clues.
Go past the Hightown Gate to the north, then follow the road eastward until you reach the statue of Andra.
All right, appreciate the help.
Well, I suppose it's the least I could do, considering I got you killed. I hope that I've been able to assist you in some small way. Good luck in your investigation, Envoy.
A poisoner from one of the temples. So much for the gods working through miracles and mysteries.
Okay. Now then, let's head on over there. My problem with this game is, I'm treating it like Mass Effect, basing my choices to go to with both factions group. Both factions? Which two factions are you using? Because there's significantly more than two in this game.
Good.
Get rid of those. All of those are unique. Do we got any spoiled? We do. Okay. Empire and the people against it. Yeah, there's more there's more groups than that. Because there's a group that's has their own interests as well. That kind of align with the people's. It's kind of aligns with the Empire. But it's also really against the Empire, and it's also really against the people. Like that, there's that major faction there. Yeah, like there is several different ways to go with that, because the people that are against the Empire aren't unified either. They all have their own factions with their own desires, their own outcomes, their own motives, their own end goals that they're trying to reach, and none of them agree on laws.
Well, that didn't take long.
Alright. There we go. Let's heal it on up. There it is.
You're gonna regret this.
One for you!
Replenish that stamina.
Right there.
Seek!
There you are. Right. And there we go.
That's one for
Lock
us.
picks. Nice, nice, nice. As well, I think I do a new playthrough. I'm going to play a rogue build, screw the Empire, hit the Inquisitor after she took the mask off. Well, she's her own faction. She doesn't answer to the Empire. You do know that. The Steel Garrote are their own group, with their own motives, their own intentions, their own goals. They're not in line with the Empire either. There's overlap, sure, but they're not together. And by rogue build, do you mean you're gonna do a melee build? The ambassador even tells you that she's an ally, that the Steel Garrote is an ally. They align often with the Empire, but they are their own group. Like, the ambassador tells you that in the first region. If you go through all the dialogue choices.
If there's anything worth finding, it'll be in here. I'm starting to see why Amond was going gray all of a sudden.
Okay.
Once I got drunk and lost back here looking for the chamber pot. Amond threw the best parties. The housekeeping isn't what it used to be.
Right, grab that. You know, this room is destroyed, right? That door was bolted. There's already vandalism up there on the wall. But the bandits, the assassins, were down below.
There you have it. So, Claviger Amon not only knew about the rebels, he also gave them access to a hideout in the cistern.
My question is if the assassins didn't make it in the room because they obviously didn't bolt it from the inside, why is this room destroyed? Why is it vandalized? And then who locked it with the key inside? Let's go with this one. He wrote that the cistern is below the temple of On.
The cistern is almost as old as Paradis. Supposedly, it was built by the island's original Pargrunan settlers. But it hasn't been in use in a very long time. I'm surprised there's still a way to get down there.
Are you going to continue, Kai? Do I have to push A, maybe?
Good place for a
there we
hidden
go.
base. It's just below the city, where the people and patrols will never look.
You know more about this game than me. I went into it blind. I did not realize this game is more complicated than I thought. The game is more complicated in certain ways, and then it's simpler than it appears in others. Like, it appears that there's 3 classes, right? The fighter, ranger, wizard. The reality is there's 2. Ranged or melee. That's it. So, like, that aspect, super simplistic. Alternatively, storytelling. There's a lot that you as the player can know from previous titles that the characters in the game will never know. And that could have an impact on your decision making, right? Like, for example, the 11 gods, the pantheon, right? Wotica, specifically, the one that the Aedir Empire worships and follows, and the ones that the Steel Garrote are fanatical about. The ones that are trying to stamp out the voice that you're hearing when you get into or throughout the game here, right? She's not actually a god. She was a mortal who made herself into a god at the expense of her people, along with the other 10 gods that she rules with that people worship. None of them are gods. They are mortals that made themselves into gods. So, like, but nobody knows that. None of the NPCs know that. We, as the players, might know that if we had played the first 2 titles or done some research on their background lore, right? Like, now we understand that it's mortals being stupid and petty because they can't control every aspect, even though they've already sacrificed everybody to make themselves into knockoff gods, right? So that kind of changes the context of it all. It's not gods warring with gods. It's mortals pretending to be gods warring with an actual god. That's a different context altogether now. You know, everyone talks about the wheel of reincarnation, right? Getting on the wheel. Well, I'll see you the next go around the wheel, and I hope your next stuff go around the wheel is not as bad as this one, and all of that fun stuff. It's like, cool. But we as the players, if we know play Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, the wheel is destroyed. It's gone. So, what does that mean for what happens when everyone dies? No idea. But it's gone. It was destroyed, canonically, without... that wasn't an option. The only option was what you do with the souls on it, right? Like, the wheel is gone. But nobody knows that. But we as the players know that, so that kind of changes context for a little bit, you know? So, their storytelling, super complex. Super in-depth. You just got to find it. And that's the problem, because a lot of the information's in the previous titles, which are CRPGs. And then you got to look at the interviews with the developer team, right? So, for example, a recent interview that I found where the development team was asked if this was Pillars of Eternity 3. The answer is no. So this is a standalone game set in the universe of Pillars of Eternity, set in the same planet as the Pillars of Eternity, set a few years after the events of Pillars of Eternity 2. There are characters from that series in this. There are references to the world events, and all the events that took place in those games are in this. The culture, the civilizations, the rules, the events, all of it is here. But Avowed is not Pillars of Eternity 3. Avowed is its own separate title in the same universe on the same exact timeline, but a separate story. And it's still respecting and maintaining all of the previously established lore. So it's one of those, like, they're there, but they're also like, you have to look for it. And the storytelling is what it gives it its complexities. And the more you know as a player, the more complex the story actually becomes. Oh, I never played those games. See, I dabbled in the first game. I went to the second game and saw what it was, and it was a continuation of the first one as a CRPG. And I was like, no. So what I did was I went and I did a bunch of lore research instead. And now that I've done a bunch of lore research, and now that I've played this, now I'm like, now I have to play those all the way through because I was not satisfied with the level of lore that I could find. The amount of lore that I found was really rich. However, you could tell also that the amount of lore that you can find is very surface level. You can tell that there's more that people just ignored or didn't realize the significance of, especially if you love lore storytelling. So now I have Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2 installed. Now I've got to go through those. Don't worry, I won't stream those. I know nobody wants to watch the RPGs. But I'm going to be going through those to see what other lore that other people may neglect, may not notice, or may not understand how it's connected over here, right? I want to find the little details, the nuances that make the lore have life. So I'm excited about that. Why do I have stuff on? Why does the character have stuff on their face now? They didn't have all of that yesterday on their cheeks. Weird. That's a new change. I don't know how I feel about that. But those games also have a ton of different endings as well. But they are two separate storylines that are on the same exact timeline and in the same exact universe. It's kind of cool.
On to the Temple of Andra, then. It's east of here, just across the canal, in the plaza with the big statue.
Right. After you.
Oh, and that's where you find out about the godlike, too. So, Pillars of Eternity 1 takes place. One of the character... right out the gate, you can make yourself a character that is a godlike. And your character goes through, does first game. At the end of the first game, 3 to 5 years pass. And then the events of the second game begin. So, time between first and second, 3 to 5 years. Then all the events of the second game take place, and you're still the same character from the first game. And then when the second game ends, when Deadfire ends, they say that it's several years later. So several, less than a decade, so less than 10. Several, we can probably, it's most likely in the same freaking time window as the previous gap. So 3 to 5, it's likely, but they didn't specify that one. They just said several. Several years after Deadfire, that's when this event is taking place. However, this is a different story. But that's how they line up together. So Pillars of Eternity 3 may or may not happen in the future. We have no idea. Avowed, depending on how well it's received, how well it performs, may also get more Avowed, and it start its own series as well, which would be kind of cool. But that's how the timeline is Pillars of Eternity, 3 to 5 years, Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, several years, Avowed. Because Inquisitor Ludwin, she's actually in Pillars of Eternity Deadfire. She is in that game. When they keep talking about how she's a Death Knight and how she died and all of that, she's killed in that game. And she comes back. So That's where that event took place. So that's where she's from, and that's why people would know who that character is because she was in the previous title.
With all due respect, Captain, you have...
Ah, the Emperor's envoy. I'm glad to see His Majesty is sending more adherents to settle this untamed land. I am Alfir, a captain in the Steel Garrote under Inquisitor Ludwine.
Let's go with the perception. You seem to take your rank quite seriously.
How else should one take one's rank, envoy? This sergeant of the Paradise Militia refuses to discipline his people about lingering near our headquarters. A less charitable woman might suppose that their loitering is intended to aggravate us.
Be reasonable. My militia need to pass this way to go to and from the East Gate. What are they supposed to do? Walk all the way down to the market entrance just to make you feel better?
Our headquarters is not under this period. Leave the captain soldiers alone. Sergeant... What is the loader in the captain? Let's go with... Because we're doing an independence run. So let's go with... Asking the sergeant what the loitering is about. And we're going to side with the sergeant.
None of us are professional soldiers. We're militia. We all have other jobs to get back to. Of course, we'll stop to have a drink and a laugh with our friends on our way to and from the gate. If the Steel Garrote want to look down their noses at us for our lack of discipline, that's fine. Just stop complaining that we don't take everything as seriously as you joyless lot.
See? This is what I'm talking about. Antagonism, plain and simple.
Someone's being a little sensitive. Let's see here. Sergeant, you don't have to avoid the building, but keep your... Is that alright? Captain Alfred, just ignore the militia. The sergeant has his job and you have yours.
Very well, envoy. Though it would be easier to do my job if there were fewer distractions.
I suppose you'll have to rely on that famous adherent discipline then. Many thanks, envoy.
Alright. Cool. That's handled. Let's go deal with this problem.
Do not succumb to fear.
Save. Alright. Now, last time we had this dude turn himself in.
Are hiding. Temple seems like an odd choice.
You can't go in there. Seize her!
Oh man. This was a little easier when I had guns. Oh shit. Man.
Everyone okay?
The envoy's hunting us lay low, no trouble. Others might try to finish what I started, but it is vital that you protect the base of operations. I'll remain in searching, keep the door locked, and may the gods smile upon you. Alright, yeah, so we let this dude, we had this dude turn himself in previously. And the Steel Garrote did what the Steel Garrote does. So we're not gonna do that this time. I wonder if I can actually side with this dude. Let's find out, shall we? Are you enjoying this more than Outer Worlds? So, it's not a fair comparison, and here's why. The problem I had with Outer Worlds was there was a game-breaking bug at the very end of the game, at the final mission area, where if you ran into the bug, that was it. Game was over. You weren't going to finish the game. You had to start all over again. saving and reloading wasn't going to do it. Resetting the game wasn't going to do it. You had to legitimately start a whole new fucking playthrough. That was my problem with Outer Worlds. That is a massive game-breaking bug. Now, this game, I have not had it crash on me. I have not had any game-breaking bugs.
Stale air, thick darkness.
And Outer Worlds has crashed on me. That would be the other thing. It has crashed on me. Also, Avowed isn't done. Avowed just came out. The developers haven't confirmed there's DLC, but they said they're open to it. Which, if you look at all Obsidian titles, they don't ever announce there's going to be DLC. They say, here's this game. And then they wait to see how it does. And then they decide to release DLC afterwards when their title does well. So, they're waiting now to see how their title performs. If their title performs well enough, we'll get DLC. If we get DLC, then I'll have more of a complete picture. So that's the other thing to keep in mind, is this game's new and not complete. Outer Worlds is complete. Well, look at Game Pass. Pillar of Eternity's complete edition is on there. Yep. And then Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire should also be on there as well. I will say that if CRPGs were more entertaining to watch, I absolutely would stream that. Because I'm going to be going through it for my first time, completing it all the way through.
A smell that peels your eyes.
It's just not the most entertaining things to watch.
Reminds me of home.
No, I just skipped a bath.
But I do have them installed, and I am going to be going through them. Because I was not satisfied with the level of lore that other content creators have covered. So, I will rectify that.
Rebels ahead. Stay alert. Quiet, Nimdut.
Oh, I am trying, little homie. Because I don't want to fight all of them if I don't have to. Can I...
Here we go.
Damn.
Time to wrap.
What was hitting me? Oh. That jackass all the way over here was hitting me. That's so unfortunate. I really didn't want to fight these folks. I wanted to be friends with them.
These people aren't trained assassins. They're just regular people with weapons.
They're trying to kill us. What else do you need to know?
The first person looks so good. It does. It really does. I'm curious on I'm really curious because I'd mentioned this yesterday, and I think I'll end up doing that on my. I don't know when I'm gonna do that because we settled on the death knight on this, the frost death knight.
Watch out. Pressure plates on the floor.
But I kind of genuinely want to know what their stealth archer looks like how it compares to, say, Skyrim's stealth archer, because it's one of those, like, if you play Skyrim, you're a stealth archer.
That should
Anybody who says they're not a stealth archer, they're a liar. They're a stealth archer. Why? Because everyone ends up as the stealth archer.
If you want, no burning through that. Just say the word.
They might dabble with other things, but they're a stealth archer. And if you're gonna make a direct comparison to yourself as a game title to Skyrim, your stealth archer better be on fucking point.
Nice! They come. This is mine.
It's too late.
Okay.
I think I sprained my shoulder.
I think, but so I've never been a. Really? You've got to be like the first person that I've heard that has not done the whole Nightingale build and stealth archer, just because like you can literally one-shot kill everything in the entire game with a bow. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I've genuinely not met a single person that didn't do stealth archer builds, just because like there's hands down nothing in the game that is stronger than a stealth archer.
Be ready.
Matter of fact, I actually found a.
Spiders. Flee to me.
I got this. This is gonna be fantastic here. I'm gonna post it in the. Let's see. Okay, here we go. I'm posting this in Discord. It's a link. It's a link to a YouTube video about being a stealth archer in Skyrim. There's so many memes about that, of just like people going, "Oh, I'm gonna go be a two-handed warrior," and then like halfway through they're like, "God damn it," and they're wearing the Nightingale armor again. Let's see. I looked at the game pillars. It looks not exciting. Yeah, because it's a CRPG. CRPGs are not for everybody, and
Coming in hot.
they're not very entertainment friendly for viewers. This is a ton of fucking reading. But lore is important enough to me that I will go through it. There we go. Man, why does combat have to be so much better in first person in this game? Ah! All right. You want to do that? Fine. We'll do that.
Coming from your right.
There we go.
What about these spiders? Are they threatening enough for you? The spiders are just trying to survive. Maybe these people are too.
Gus, not this sucker again. I sense a Marius lecture coming.
Well, yeah, he's gonna give you a Marius lecture. People are trying to kill us and you're defending it. Yeah, problem. Grimoire of Embers. Interesting. Okay, what else we got? I played Diablo 2, StarCraft 1 and 2. Oh, wait. Other than a stealth sniper, a stealth archer would win in the battlefield. In video games, yes. In video games, you are absolutely correct. I played Diablo 2, StarCraft 1 and 2. Yeah, that's... Think more of Icewind Dale. Because Obsidian marketed that... So when Obsidian markets their games, know that they have a game that they're looking at for a direct comparison to. The direct comparison that they made as a development company for Pillars of Eternity was they wanted to be for that to be the spiritual successor to Icewind Dale. So if you go and look at the Icewind Dale gameplay, if you look at the way that that game was set up, if you're not familiar with it, that's what they were going for, is a spiritual successor to that. It's the one thing I can say about Obsidian, is like they're very clear on who they and what they want to be compared to. Not to mention, I still think they're one of the greatest storytelling companies around currently.
Stand back.
But it makes it a lot easier when you know what the developers intended it to be compared against, rather than guessing what games are the best to compare it against. And it also gives you an idea of like where the developer's mindset is, what their goals were, what their objectives were, so what they were trying to achieve. You have that as a reference point, which helps you understand the overall vision of the game better. Actually, can I just... There we go.
Key opens the big double doors we saw on the way here.
Yeah, it probably does. But before we go doing all that, we've got that to collect. There we go.
Remember that time in Emerald Stair? You let that thief take all our supplies.
Yes, I remember this
I
story.
wasn't gonna kill a man over a few rations. We needed our supplies. We almost died without them.
True.
You let your heart get in the way of your survival.
When did you become a poet?
Just blessed day now. Like it?
Still needs work.
Okay, so we don't need to go that way. So it's just there. There we go. I hear shimmering.